To solder, or in this case fuse, because we are using Argentium wire, that's the beauty of it, you don't need solder. We want to align our hoop on our block with one of the ear pins. Now normally we would try and get this positioned in such a way this was central on the back of that wire, but there's not much in terms of height or thickness with that wire. So to make it easier for ourselves, we actually can just place them both flat on the block and make sure that they are both flat and line them up. Now what you also want to make sure of is that you're soldering it the right way around. So on an ear pin, you've got a little ridge section on the end, which is where your scroll hooks on or catches so it doesn't fall off. Make sure that's towards the end of the pin and it's not getting soldered or fused to the actual main body of the piece. Then for any kind of soldering or fusing, we have to use flux, as that tells our metal where to flow. And so on a little brush, I've dipped the flux onto that brush, or dip the brush into the flux, and I've been fairly generous with that. I'm not too worried about having too much on there. And once again, just make sure that it's all lined up and well. A good join with any kind of fusing or soldering is very important to get a good finished piece. So spend some time doing that, and you can have your tweezers to hand as you switch your torch on so that you can nudge things into position as well. You might find that you're on a place or area on a block that's actually a little bit bumpy. If that is the case, then move to another area and you'll get a better alignment. Now move any flammables out the way, so a plastic bottle or tissue paper, and you can get your torch to hand. Now with any kind of soldering and fusing, we want the strongest flame on our torch. So in this case, I'm going to have a fairly big flame, and I'm going to just show you how you can adjust your flame. So I don't want it to be too small, I want it rather generous, and I want it as sharp as that is. So if you look at the front of your torch, there's a little hole that allows oxygen in. You can change that hole until you've got the sharpest flame possible. Now you really want to focus mostly on the dominant piece of silver, because if you focus on the pin, that will certainly melt, but you want them to get to a fairly good color around about the same time. So spend more time on the big piece and on occasion come on to the small piece. And with Argentium, it needs to go to a very bright orange, and as soon as you see that bright orange and a slight liquefaction, you can take your heat away. And that happened very quickly, but it happened well, so I'm quite pleased with that. I'm just going to pick that up so that you can see the results. There you go. Now you can actually clean that up or polish it up in any which way you want, but I want to show you a little tip on how to harden the pin. So I'm just going to quench that in some water so it's safe for me to touch. And then because we've heated up the metal, it's actually now quite malleable. So if you come and place that in your ear and then you put the butterfly on the back, it's going to be really soft and it's going to bend out of shape. So if we grab our flat pliers, we can actually use those. I'm just going to pinch the wire, the pin, with the pliers, and I'm not focusing on this area here because that's actually a vulnerable point. That's where the ridges are. I'm going to go slightly higher up, and I'm holding. This is a test of the solder join or the fusing join. If it's done well, it's going to stay on, and I'm very gently twisting. And what that twisting motion does is it's actually tightening up the particles within the silver, and it's making it harder. So as I'm doing that, it's making it much more durable, harder, and longer lasting. So there you go. That's your first little silver hoop earring, and you could of course hammer that to give it some texture. Bye bye.